easy to defeat someone and very difficult to win someone. A very happy wishes to all the lovely people watching this. This is Niveditha Shekhar, presently pursuing Bachelor of Engineering of 3rd SEM CSE branch from Government SKSJ Technological Institute, Kia Circle, Bangalore. So today's topic presentation is President's Election Process. As we all know that President is a main pillar of any constitution or the country. His role or his thing will play a vital role in every sector of our country. So starting with in this session, we'll be dealing with how a president is elected, what are the qualifications to contest in a president's election process. Next, we'll be dealing with the roles and functions of a president, and later on, we'll be dealing with that of the present president of India about Draupadi Murmu. And let's begin. So, starting with, as we all know that President of India is the head of Indian state and is also called as first citizen of India. The Article 52 of Indian Constitution mentions that there compulsorily should be a president for India. The present president of India is Draupadi Murmu and she is the 15th president of India. The president of India is elected indirectly by a single transferable voting system. The president is elected by an electoral college who is consisting of elected representatives of the government and that form a government after being elected in the state assembly and national elections. So as we all know that, then who are the people who can participate in this thing is, one thing considering is the nominated members of both the houses and state legislatures are not allowed to vote in the presidential election. So here, who are the people who can participate in this president's election is, we can also, but in an indirect way. That is, we, as we all know that we vote in local elections and we make one MP or MLAs for that particular constituency. So these MPs and MLAs, we can vote in the president's election process. So that is, we are also participating indirectly in the president's election process. So hence the electoral college of the presidential election consists of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, legislative assemblies of all the states, and then legislative assemblies of the union territories of Delhi, Jammu and Kashmir, and Puducherry. So as we all know that India is a huge country, and this direct way of electing a president will be creating adverse effects on everybody. So thereby the government follows a cabinet system. So, for example, if you have to elect a president directly, then their campaigning, their way of electing will be totally a difficult way of electing. So, thereby, we'll be creating, or we first will be participating in the local elections, we'll be creating MPs, MLAs, and these people will be participating in presidential election process. So, starting with the election commission assigns a varying number of votes. For example, it depends, the vote, the value for vote will be varying from different constituents, MLAs or MPs, because it will be varied based on the population of that particular state. For Karnataka, or that considering Karnataka having huge population, the vote or the weightage for MP's vote will be varying than the weightage of the MP vote for Goa or other state. So this is how the president will be elected. That is an indirect way of electing a president will be taken place. So the varying votes will be based on the population of that particular state. The next thing which we'll be dealing here is the qualifications to become a president of India. As we all know that there should be certain qualification or features in order to contest in a president for president's election process. So the first thing is he or she must be an Indian citizen. So only the citizens of India can participate in the presidential election process. The next thing is they have to be completed with the age of 35 years. That is, they have to be more than 35 years of age. The next one is a person must be qualified for election as a member of the House of the People. The next one is the person who is consisting for this presidential election process should not hold a government office of profit. That is, they should not have any profit from the government. That is, like a person will be eligible if he's holding the office of the president or vice president. That is, if he's holding a office of the governor and that holding of an office of union and that of state ministers. So these are the certain features or qualifications which should be present in that particular person who is contesting in presidential election process. The next one is about roles and functions of president. there will be certain role, being a public I have to render, or there will be certain duties that I have to render for the country. In same way, the president will also have certain roles and functions in order to perform. So the primary duty of the president is to preserve, protect, and defend the constitution and law of India has made a part of their executive function. Being the head of the union, they have certain powers, that is like all executive powers are exercised in his name. Next one, he can also appoint certain members, like as an head of the executive, the president appoints the governor of states, the judges of Supreme Court, high courts, and many other high officials, such as members of finance commission also are elected or nominated by that of the president. The next one is the president appoints the prime minister and other ministers also. No demand for grant can be made except president's recommendation. That is, money bills which are the will be can be introduced or they can be passed only based on the president's recommendation or his willingness. President can grant any sort of imprisonment or respite or reprieve based on the punishments or based on the crimes that a person will be committed. These are the certain roles or that I can tell. Next, dealing with certain functions or powers that a president will have. One thing is, he can ask to prove majority in Lok Sabha Union Council of Ministers. Normally remains in office for 5 years unless dissolved earlier for any reason. That is, he can eliminate any member of the Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha if he finds anything is not good, or if they does any crime with a valid reason, he can eliminate them from that particular constituency. The other one is, president is a part of a parliament also. Next, he can summons and addresses the parliament. His main role, that is that he should addresses the parliament whenever there will be any sessions that will be created. Then the other thing is, the president nominates a number of members in both the houses. The chief purpose of the nomination is to ensure adequate representation in parliament of all sections of population. The other one is power in respect of bills. He's having a huge amount of power with respect to bills. That is, the president has certain functions in respect to passing a bill. A bill passed by both the houses of parliament requires his assent in order to become an act. For example, if both the houses, that is Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, has been agreed for that particular bill is nothing but any sort of agreement or an act or the law. This will become active, or it will go for an act stage only when the president agrees, or only when his willingness is present for that particular act. Next, bill passed by a state legislative. A bill passed by state legislative may also be reserved for the consideration of the president by the governor of the state also. Then, according to the Constitution of India, the annual financial statement is placed by the president before both the houses of the parliament. He has certain things like that also, that any rule if he makes, it should be given for the both the houses in order to rectify or in order to receive their willingness to. Next one is, certain emergency powers are also there by the president. That is, emergency for failure of constitutional machinery in a state, or financial emergency is also a role of function or power of president. The other one is national emergency also. The president of India may issue a proclamation of national emergency when the security of India or any part therefore is threatened by a war, armed rebellion, or external aggression. So that is like aggression. That is like, for example, if there is any violence or any war that will be withhold of it will be performed, that can also be considered as a national emergency, and in that stages the president's willingness or that of president's main thing will play there. The next one we are dealing here is about the present president of India, that is Draupadi Murmu. So present president is Draupadi Murmu. She was sworn in as a 15th president of India on July 25th, 2022. Previously, she was the governor of Jharkhand from the pace of 2015 to 2021. She has devoted her life to empowering the downtrodden as well as the marginalized sections of society, which are deepening the democratic values. She is a social worker. She serves herself. She renders her service for all the low people, and she helps in creating a developed country. In 2000, Srimati Murmu was elected from the Rai Rangpur constituency as a member of the Legislative Assembly of Odisha and continued to hold the post till 2009. So there are certain other features or also of her, that is she is an avid reader, that is her other interest, and has keen interest in spirituality, was associated with several tribal socio-educational and cultural organizations of Odisha too. In both assignments, she introduced innovative initiatives and people-oriented measures also. Next, the other thing is she was an officer in. These are the certain features of Draupadi Murmu. She is dedicated herself. She is rendering services to a great level. She has dedicated herself to develop our country, that is India. So this was about my session. That is a president's election process. I hope everybody understood. So this is Niveditha. Thank you so much for listening and for being patient till now. Thank you. Thank you.